Political placards, they're everywhere, they're a very pervasive form of photography. And as a dad photographer who always wants to learn, the question was, can we learn something from political placards? And that's why on the previous video, we looked at the 2022 French presidential election to understand what made the good and what made the bad political placard. Now the question is, can I make my own? And to make my own, first, I must learn from the best. The idea is for me to recreate their political placard, hopefully going from this to that, see how I can do it alone, and then afterwards doing my own, and hopefully we can all learn something from it. All right, let's see. I'm just thinking about who I want to be as a politician, so trying to get myself into a politician's mind. I have no idea how to do it. Oh, by the way, look. This is my Jadot impersonation and Artaud impersonation.
Okay, now let's go to work.
When I try and copy an existing picture, my process is generally to have a very detailed look at it, not only to understand how it was taken, but also to understand how I can do it with the means I have at my disposal, because I don't have everything a big photographer has. It's actually more straightforward than I thought, because clearly I can't see any backlight, there's nothing on the shoulders. So there's only one front light, and I don't know whether I should use, it's a round light, clearly. It's going to be hard to put it at the same level on my eyes. But I think maybe an umbrella or a softbox. I've got both. There's also no need for control. So because an umbrella, you don't control the light as much because, it diffuses, but it also throws the light in all directions. I think I'll go with the umbrella. For the lower reflective surface, I won't use a softbox. I'll go with a grey reflector. And I'm going to have to use a dreadful app on Fuji. So that's going to be fun. Background I'll do on Photoshop, so I'll need to find a white wall. The idea is to have no shadow whatsoever. It's really pure clamshell here. I'll try and smile like she does. It's going to be hard, especially alone, when you're alone with your camera and the Fuji app. But don't know if I can find a necklace like hers. I wonder if it's a, German eagle or something. We'll use a shirt. I won't use a V-neck. It's fine for her, but I think, again, the idea is to get elected. So Roussel. Yep, here we go. My friend Roussel. Oh, God. This is going to ask a lot more from me because I'll have to really work how I position myself, how I look at the camera. The smile is going to be so hard. And also, as you can see, I've got my eye is drooping, and although it's okay on video, it's actually very visible on pictures. I'll have to work that. So let's see the light. So there's directional light here, and there's two lights. I hadn't thought about that. Clearly it's square. Well, I think it's square, but I'll use a round one. But the shadow is actually not that hard. There's actually quite a clear step. The lower light is probably a reflector to clear the neck here. I can't have my hair to look like his. My eyes can't be blued. I could. He actually has a very, very fine looking vest. Saturation will be done in Photoshop, and the background is actually maybe harder to do, but still it's pretty straightforward. If you can copy, it's a 3-point gradient, and on one side, and it's a full color on the other. I'll have to find the same font, but again, it's nothing impossible. Yeah, it's confident. I'm feeling quite confident I can do something. Okay, let's go. So you don't need a big space to do some studio work, especially from the waist up. Actually, I'm going to be seated because there's absolutely no need for being up. Most of my stuff is actually pretty cheap, and I think investing in studio and light photography is very interesting because you get to know lighting and you get to do really creative photography for quite a low cost. So try it.
So there was too much light for me to be able to get full darkness, so I had to close the windows. That's generally something you'll have to do sometimes in studio, so I'm sorry about the lack of video quality as a consequence, but I think we're good.
So the hard part is just getting the app to work.
Of course, after one first round, I already have to change batteries on my Fuji and charge the GoPro. This is the one bane of the photographer, videographer, is battery life.
Now that the app is working, I'm going to get the lights dialed in, and that's one moment when having a friend really helps.
Okay, so now I've got something quite decent, so I'm going to go and change. Right now, so I think I look quite presidential. I mean, not everywhere, eh? It's all in appearances, and I assure you, if there's one guy who was in shorts during the photo shoot, it's Roussel, so, you know.
I'm not sure Marine Le Pen was in shorts during her session, but the main problem here is getting the clamshell right, and I had really a lot of trouble getting enough light on my neck, and I think in the end I actually used the second flash. The other aspect here is really to get the framing well and to get this really good position looking at the camera and not being too patronizing.
Okay, I think I've got this one right. I can't get the smile. I didn't overexpose. I think I'm going to do it in Lightroom as she did, and make it a bit colder as she did. But I think I'm going to stay like that. So now with Roussel, right?
So here with Roussel, the main light is actually straightforward, and the second light, which is a neck reflector, I'm going to hold in my hands in a few seconds, is actually very simple. But the important part is a fade on my right cheek, and that's what the big reflector does. It bounces back just enough light to do a fade. Of course, the hard part was also body position. I've imported some of the pictures. I've already did a selection. I've put in blue the ones I prefer for Marine Le Pen, in red the ones for the communists, and in green the ones which are for me. I did have some fun. This is non-retouched, straight out of camera. See how beautiful this young boy is. And then let's go for Marine Le Pen. So as you can see, there is a progression. This one was fine, but there was not enough light around the eyes. And then we're getting there. Obviously afterwards it's just a matter of getting the expression well. You see, we can actually see in the eyes the same as Marine Le Pen, which is good. I should have brushed my hair a bit better. Yeah, this one's nice, this one's good. So the eyes are not exactly it, because I can't actually look straight at the camera. I should have lifted the camera up a bit. Okay, now for Photoshop. So the background is very straightforward. It's just blue to blue with a yellow center, white center. And then of course it's all the detouring, and that's usual. There's loads of very good YouTube videos on how to do it. Of course I've ended up doing it by hand as usual. And then of course afterwards it's positioning. My shoulders are not exactly how they should, but you can see it how it's, well, close. I think the problem is my skin is not exactly the same as hers. So there's loads of ways to do it, but I ended up doing it by curves. And actually with Roussel it was the same, because the more I tried fancy stuff for color grading, the more I lost time. And so in the end I ended up using curves. So the background, I'm afraid, I didn't record when I did it. But then afterwards, it was quite straightforward. I've used curves for the lighting, for the color tone, and generally speaking, there was nothing much to do that was very specific. I used a bit of the neural filters to look good. And then afterwards, it was just a case of writing everything down, getting the right font, and generally speaking, cleaning up the image. So you've seen how the images were made, so there's not going to be a great reveal, but I mean, it's usual on YouTube, so enjoy the transition. And here you have 2 political placards with my head on them.
So now it's showtime, and for me, I think I'm going to go with the most boring politician possible. So it's going to be pastel colors. I'm not going to use any color from an actual political party, and we're going to try and make a boring, good quality political placard.
wonder which one is best between this one. So I didn't get the Mélenchon pose quite well. Oh, let's go with the last one I took. No. Let's beautify me a bit.
Okay, so making me look beautiful is very easy, let's be clear. But, you know, it's always the usual. Lighting, teeth whitening, cleaning up the skin. And then afterwards, it's off to Photoshop. And of course, the main problem was background integration. You really want the background to feel, you know, like it's possible that you're there. And then what you want to do is a global color cast, but still have you pop from the background.
So as my running mate, I was thinking about Orion. He's good with people, trustworthy. I'm afraid he might be a single issue politician. Hey, Orion, tu vas? Vas-y.
Okay, he'll do.
So there's a tradition for the running mate to be in a completely different image.
So for the final flourishes, I really wanted to stay within the theme of, you know, usual political image. I didn't want to do anything drastic, and I think I nailed it. I mean, did you vote for this guy?
It just goes to show how much we can do by ourselves. So the question now is, what would you do for your own election? Are you going to go for something like Roussel, maybe Le Pen? Which one do you prefer of the three I did, actually? And if you are a politician and you're looking for someone to make your own political placard, well, you know how to contact me. All right, see you next time.